Recently I met with master woodworker, woodcraftsman, woodsman Mike Krantz. This meeting had been inspired by a piece of furniture he'd shown me. Somehow he had designed it so that the drawers completely disappeared into the chest, leaving no seam whatsoever. I'd never seen anything like this, and for the first time in my life, I think furniture got my attention. During my visit, we discussed his history, the course by which he had studied art, and ultimately found himself supported entirely by work from the shop he had built behind his house. From a distance, I had watched a reception desk come together from a few pieces of planed wood.
Here we are starting a new project, a reception desk for a Pilates studio. Walnut, sequential sheets, 8 feet long, 3 feet wide.
And its final design was like nothing I would have imagined. He told me his story, and afterwards we would have a discussion about what constituted good and bad art and where things were going.
I was an art major at the University of Kentucky, and they had a visiting artist for a year that was a wood sculptor. I got fascinated with what we were doing in those classes. And then I started looking at Fine Woodworking magazine. It was a brand new magazine, came out in the late 70s. Black and white format, just a beautiful magazine. What they do today is just a commercial shell of what the original was. I think the inspiration of it originally was Gustave Stickey. I don't know if that's a name you're familiar with, but he was American Craftsman movement, and he published I think it was called The Craftsman. It gave a platform for craftsmen, Rorschach and fellas like him. It gave them a venue to be able to express what they do and why they do it and their thought behind their process. And that's kind of like what fine woodworking was then, where artists actually talked about their work and why they do it and how they do certain things. So I started looking and seeing what was being done in furniture, and I was becoming very disillusioned with the art world. It's not that I didn't like art, I just didn't like artists. I could see where art was becoming more about the spin rather than, for lack of a better word, the product and how well it communicated on its own. So I started looking at furniture there, and I decided that this was a better fit for me. Went to a small school in Vermont, Kirby Studios, sort of an apprenticeship with Ian Kirby, who was an English teacher and craftsman. I get a lot of my art appreciation, I think, from my mom. Fine arts, especially in classical music. She was always big on taking me to museums of just about any kind. I think the biggest one we went to, I guess it was in '69, we were in the British Isles, and so when we went to the British Museum, I was just enthralled. That was the first major museum I'd ever been in. At 15, that was a real eye-opener. Ancient art, a lot of the great English masters are there. It was really impacting.
Kind of opened a world for you.
Yeah.
So the disillusionment, I think it sounds like it was with the social side of art and composition.
Yeah.
So getting your hands on the woodwork felt more pure to you because you were able to sort of eliminate the social.
I mean, when I was in school, I did drawings on thinking, okay, this would be great in bent metal tubes and so forth. But I never pursued sculpture. That's what when I graduated, I was a BFA in fine art with an emphasis in sculpture, but by the time I left, I sort of left and focused more on the woodworking, furniture end of things. I never really thought about quitting because I guess It's that artist mentality. I do it because I have to. And I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 times in my life where I did not complete a personal project. I just don't quit. So like in business, even when it was tough, back in the mid-2000s, the economy tanked, and boy, that was tough.
How did you first set yourself up on your own?
Yeah, I had to make it work, and I had to hustle, and I had to knock on doors, I had to go see architects or builders, interior designers. Hey, sweetie. I think everything gives off something. Things you can look at, it can be something just off kilter a little bit. For instance, a woman photographer back in the 50s, Diane Arbus, okay? Technically, really good photographs, very good photographs. But there's always something just off. And really, I find her work disturbing. Yeah. Really good and unique, but that disturbing. Enough that although I appreciate it, I wouldn't want it in my house. Everything gives off something. And then you look at another one they discovered a few years ago, Vivian Mayer. Her work to me was where she captured things, and even her self-portraits. They're just wonderful, and I just, not that I, only things that make you feel good is good art.
Right.
There's just something about her work that just, it does it for me. So there's another one. So you have 2 different women basically working at about the same time.
Different intention behind their compositions, though.
Completely.
And that's probably the energy.
And I think, I don't know, I think, didn't Arbus kill herself?
Yeah.
Even in the 70s, I guess there was a lot of political art coming out, but it was the spin, the story you make and develop behind it. I've frequently said that it could get so that you could pile a bunch of mud on a table and shove sticks in it, and if you can spin it well enough, oh, it's art.
There's a very dubious cultural relevance, and the keepers of that are kind of what determine it, rather than the form or function of what it's suggesting about us.
It kind of reminds me of Marcel Duchamp, who brought a urinal into the gallery for a show and said, "This is art." And it polarized everybody. And I don't know if he was fucking with people or if he was just serious in challenging people's perception of what art was. And political art, yeah, if I feel like I'm being preached at, you've lost me. I am turned off by that.
I think that's more prevalent.
It's far more prevalent today.
And I think also your reaction is far more prevalent as well. Just that there's still sort of this weird PC gatekeeping thing still programmed in people since COVID and everything else. They're still shell-shocked, still afraid to talk out of favor of the tribe. Did you see the film Exit Through the Gift Shop?
I know the title. It's a great film.
I thought it was good too.
And I think it illustrates the bullshit that goes on with art today. Yeah. And it's, again, all about the spin. It's kind of like the banana thing recently. The whole thing about piling up mud and shoving sticks in it, just as an example, I went with my kids to Witherspoon Art Museum here. And it is the last time I went. We walked in there and there was a table with stacks of mud and sticks shoved in it. And Sophie said my face turned beet red. I got so mad. I was tempted to throw the table over it and pitch a fit, but I didn't want to end up in jail. Then they spin that. Yeah. Look at the reaction we draw out of people. And
so I've heard that so many times when I was living in New York. They would say, I would say, well, I think this is meaningless, and then they would say, well, the fact that we're even having a discussion about it means that it's achieved something. I was like, well, we could have a discussion about what I almost stepped in on the sidewalk in here, but it doesn't mean that turd achieved anything.
Yeah.
For Brandish Productions, this is Daddy Brandish.